Okay, in the previous problem, we took an equation in factored form and used the factored form to figure out what the x-intercepts of the graph were. Okay. In this problem, we're going to go the exact opposite way. We're going to look at the graph of something, find out what the x-intercepts are, and then use that information to figure out what the factored form is. So again, in the last problem, we used the factored form to figure out what the x-intercepts are. In this problem, we're going to use the graph of something to figure out what the factored form is. So, we've never looked at a graph like this. It's not a parabola. It has an x cubed. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it into my calculator, and I'm going to figure out what the x-intercepts are. And then I'm going to use that to figure out what must the factored form be. So I put it in, I hit graph, and I get this curve, right? It comes up, goes down, comes back up again. Now let's look at the x-intercepts. Here's one. It looks like it's at -1. Here's another one, looks like it's at 1. And here's another one, looks like it's at 3. Let's just confirm that by going to the table. Yep, we have an x-intercept at 1, an x-intercept at 3, and another one at -1. So let's go back to the graph. Now we've figured out that the x-intercepts are x equals -1, x equals 1, and x equals 3. And now we're going to use that to deduce the fact that apparently, if you factor this, here's the end of the problem, it's going to look like this. Y is equal to x plus 1 times x minus 1 times x minus 3. Now let's think about why that must be the case. Again, since the x-intercepts of the graph are -1, 1, and 3, how do you find the x-intercepts of this? Well, you set y equal to 0. And if you set y equal to 0, what values of x are going to make this equation true? Well, -1, 1, and 3. So in this case, we use the graph of the equation to figure out how to factor something that we've never even studied before. This is a very useful trick, using the x-intercepts of a graph to figure out how to factor something as complicated as that. So you can use this on parabolas as well, but that's the technique.